Frederick Mitchell versus Wastequip, Inc. On January 4th, 2022 at 1 p.m., the New York Supreme Court will hear the appeal of Mr. Frederick Mitchell, a worker who was wrongfully denied workers' compensation benefits. Below this video is an accompanying press release. Please direct people to tinyurl.com/justiceforfredmitchell to stay informed about Mr. Mitchell's case. Email justiceforfredmitchell@gmail.com to schedule an interview or learn more about Mr. Mitchell's case and upcoming press conference on the day of his hearing before the New York Supreme Court. The case involves two injuries Mr. Mitchell, a skilled certified welder, suffered while working in an upstate metal fabrication plant for Wastequip, Inc. The first injury occurred on May 17, 2003, where Mr. Mitchell was severely injured by the explosion of a pipe on which he was working. After the injury, the plant manager interviewed all of the welders who were in the area at the time of the explosion, with assistance from a state trooper. The manager reported that, quote, "It is the general feeling in the shop that this was no accident and that it would take purposely filling the tube with gas to cause this situation," end quote. One coworker stated that he had witnessed another welder working at the other end of the 22-foot-long tube on which Mr. Mitchell was working, deliberately filling the tube with acetylene. There is no record that any prosecution ensued against that welder. After winning a permanent partial disability case for the May 17th injuries, Mr. Mitchell went back to work for Wastequip, Inc., where he did work within the limitations of his disability from the first incident. On March 29, 2004, Mr. Mitchell suffered a fall from grease on the floor in the employer's bathroom. Mr. Mitchell's disability case was reevaluated to include the new injuries. Then, in 2011, things changed. Wastequip, Inc. submitted videos to the court alleging it was surveillance footage of Mr. Mitchell engaging in actions that showed that he was not injured. Their argument was that Mr. Mitchell misrepresented his injuries during the course of the case, which would be a violation of Workers' Compensation Law Section 114A, which states that a claimant is disqualified from benefits if they knowingly make a false statement or representation as to a material fact. The videos were accepted into evidence by Judge Melissa Richburg. Judge Richburg did not have the video footage authenticated before accepting it into evidence. The following is some of the clearly fraudulent video that was submitted by Wastequip, Inc., and explanations as to how the footage is forged. Let's look at this video clip in more detail. There is no sign, as is seen on the left, at this Subway restaurant location across from the Workers' Compensation building. Also, notice how there is no parking lot in front of the Subway restaurant building, as there is in reality. Actual Subway restaurant location at 77 Broadway, Menands, New York, where the video tries to establish as its setting. Also, the bus stop is north of Subway, not in front of Subway, as the video tries to depict. Notice the bus stop sign to the left. Back to the Subway restaurant bus scene. Watch how the 9:38:27 a.m. timestamp remains through the blurred edit and is altered to 9:52:58 a.m. after the new street scene is established. The video makes it look like it is filming in a rearview mirror, which would show the figure holding a cane with the right hand. Mr. Mitchell suffered injuries to his right hand and right shoulder as a result of the incidents at Wastequip, Inc. Notice also how the jacket is backwards compared to its actual construction, where the right arm has the graphic patch on it and is blue, not black as it appears here. The following is a different scene of fraudulent video submitted by Wastequip Inc. Upon slowing down the video, as in the previous example, the timestamp blends during the blurred edit from one time to another. Mr. Mitchell, reflecting on his workers' compensation case, said, quote, "The physical, emotional, and spiritual violence and terror that has been inflicted on me from the parties involved in my case from before the moment the pipe bomb exploded, to the explosion, to the slip and fall, to the near 2 decades since, has been a daily trauma I have had to endure." The fraudulent video, along with misquoted and misrepresented statements from various reports and testimony, formed Judge Richburg's reserved decision on June 15, 2011. The decision denied Mr. Mitchell continued workers' compensation benefits, falsely stating that he violated Workers' Compensation Board Section 114-A. Email justiceforfredmitchell@gmail.com to schedule an interview or learn more about Mr. Mitchell's case and upcoming press conference on the day of his hearing before the New York Supreme Court on January 4th, 2022.